Let's talk about a model that I think can help you do two things. It can help you build the strongest, trust-based relationships you possibly have and allow you and others to do the best work you've ever done. And it all comes down to communication. I want to introduce you a model called Radical Candor. A lady a few years ago, a Google executive, wrote a book called Radical Candor. Her name's Kim Scott. And I'm going to take you through the understanding behind this communication model that will do all the things I've just sort of said. It's based on the premise that if you care deeply about somebody, you're willing to challenge them directly. Now just think about those two things for a sec. How often do you go through life where someone you really care about does something perhaps a little off character or not right, and you feel confident enough to challenge them directly on that behavior? If I'm honest, I've not done that all the time. But when it's happened to me, it's made a major difference. So let's just walk that through. Caring deeply and challenging directly. Think of it as a kind of 2x2. In that top right-hand box, we have a situation where you care deeply about the person you're talking to and you're willing to challenge them directly. That's what Kim calls radical candor, or radical honesty, your choice. You care about someone so much that you want them to be the very best version of themselves. So when they do something that, I don't know, is wrong or lets them down or is poor behavior, you love them enough. And I use that word love quite strongly, actually. You care deeply about that person enough to bring it up, to challenge them on it, so that they have a chance to improve their behavior. That's a pretty easy thing to say. It's a tough thing to do. And I want to take you through the other three boxes and explain why that's the case. When you care deeply about someone but aren't confident enough to challenge them directly, Kim Scott calls that ruinous empathy. Now, this is a box many of us fall into, and I include myself in that during my corporate career. I lived a lot of my career in ruinous empathy. And the reason behind that was I really cared about the people I was working with. I really did. But I wasn't confident enough to challenge them directly for fear of hurting their feelings or embarrassing them. So what I actually did was avoid that challenge. But you see, all that does is let someone down. It puts a limit on their potential and potentially harms them from growing. At the time, I thought I was doing the right thing, protecting them, being nice to them. But when you're a leader, no one's looking for a mate or a weak dad. They're looking for someone to help them grow and develop. And so whilst ruinous empathy can feel like a wonderful place to be, it's probably one of the worst places to be. If you really care about someone, you should care enough to challenge directly. When you don't care about the individual and you're not willing to challenge them directly, that quadrant is called manipulative insincerity. It's that sort of say anything to anyone just to get out of the situation box. It's where you see a lot of political behavior. I'll say one thing to you because I think that's what you need to hear or want to hear, and then behind your back, I'll say the complete opposite to somebody else. I'll undermine you to carry favor with them. It's a horrible box to play in. Do you know anybody that sits in that box? Have you worked for anybody that sits in that box? When you find out they're in that box, how does that make you feel? It's not a good place. This is a box where people are only after self-interest. They will feign interest in you, they will feign that they care for you, but they will never help you grow and develop. You'll never really get anything long-term from that person. It's just a sycophantic relationship and not a place you want to be. When you don't care about the individual, but you challenge them directly, that is a quadrant called obnoxious aggression. Just think about those two words for a sec. Have you ever worked for anybody who is obnoxiously aggressive? Someone who calls you out just to score points off you, to undermine you, to look good in front of other people? How much did you learn from that person? How much growth did you get from that person? How inspired were you by that individual? Probably not very much. These are the people that make you feel small, make you feel worthless, make you feel incapable of improvement. Working in this box is not a place you want to be as a leader. If you find yourself chewing people out for the sake of it, to look good in front of other people, you're in the wrong box. Occasionally, right, we all act like idiots. Occasionally, we can let emotion run away with us. These are the things you need to be aware of as a leader. If you find yourself operating in obnoxious aggression, take a breath. Realize what's going on and get yourself back into that top quadrant. Yes, challenge. We need challenge. But bring it from a good place. When challenge comes from a good place, magic happens.